Hi everyone, let me introduce myself for those who doesn't know me. I'm Redza Cleofa, Vice President, Task and Organization of Work and Negotiation of the FIQ-SPSSODIM. First of all, I would like to thank you for your mobilization and the great solidarity shown throughout this negotiation. Whether it was by you wearing the sticker, the t-shirt on Wednesdays, participating at General Assembly and our union activity, the negotiation committee really felt support by its members, and this made a big difference at the bargaining table. The agreement in principle includes union requests such as number 1, stability of position in work teams, number 2, improvements in the staffing of position and in the taking of holidays, and number 3, having significant limits on the mobility of staff in the new territory of the CERS, which contributes to continuity of care. The negotiating committee and the intermediate council are satisfied and recommend this tentative agreement. We will present an outline of 26 matters negotiated, followed by the letters of agreement and annexes. The voting period will be held in our installation from September 17 to 21st. Participate in large numbers in the adoption of your new collective agreement. If you have any question, I invite you to contact your local union team. Thank you.
Matter 1. Notion of position. A single position is on one center of activities on a given work shift, days, evenings, or nights, and in a single job title. A compound position is limited to 2 centers of activities in the same installation, on a given work shift, days, evenings, or nights, and also in a single job title. A rotation position is in a single center of activities, either days, evenings, or days, nights, in a single job title with a rotation cycle. The float teams are grouped by territory, as previously. You can see the territories below. The basic structure corresponds to 100% of required positions by work shift. Made up of simple and compound positions, the employer may create positions or upgrade part-time positions in addition to the base structure. This is a new notion in our collective agreement. The objective is to move toward creating more positions in the center activities than the basic needs, helping to stabilize the work teams and making taking time off more accessible. Matter 2. Notion of center of activities. Center of activities. A center of activities is on only one installation. Exceptionally, it may be on more than one installation if the specific nature of care requires it. The union was able to limit and significantly restrict mobility that the employer wanted. For us, this is a major gain. If ever the employer creates a center of activities on more than one installation, here are the conditions that apply. The employer promotes stability in a single installation. When particular situations require mobility of an employee holding a position on more than one installation, it is done on a voluntary basis, or by inverse order of seniority. If he or she is away from her home base, the travel allowances apply. An example of a center of activities on more than one installation would be for care counselor nurses. An installation is a physical location where care is provided, a building. The missions include hospital, CHSLD, CLSC, and rehabilitation centers. The probation period is 45 days of work for employees, except for job titles requiring a university degree. It's 90 days of work. Matter number 4. Replacements may now be given to full-time employees as well as part-time employees. We will take a look at the conditions in Matter 6. Matter 5. Reassignment. The conditions for reassignment are status quo, except as in point D, to prevent situations of conflict or harassment during an investigation process. Temporary closure, total or partial, of a center of activities. It may not exceed 4 months, and the employer offers the possibility of taking annual vacation or any other leave before using the reassignment mechanisms. Situations of staffing surplus. In all situations, it is the choice of the employee to be reassigned or to take a leave. The affected employee is reassigned on another center of activities on the same work shift in the same installation. The affected employee is reassigned on his/her work shift on another center of activity of his or her installation. The employee may also choose to remain on his or her center of activities on another work shift. If the surplus is known by the employer more than 24 hours in advance, he must inform the employee at least 24 hours before the beginning of the work shift. In other situations, he must inform the employee at the latest at the beginning of the shift. The reassignment is done in the following manner. 1. On a voluntary basis, and 2. Otherwise, by inverse seniority, by float team employees, employees who hold an atypical position such as a compound or rotation position, and other employees holding positions in the center of activities. Matter 6. Replacements. For the granting of replacements, we find replacements of 28 days or less which are divisible, and 28 days and more which are indivisible. The granting order for replacements of 28 days and less are the part-time employees of the center of activities who express their availability. After that, the float team employees, followed by employees on the availability list of the establishment. For replacements of more than 28 days, the granting order is to part-time employees who hold a position in the center of activities where the replacement is done. After that, we have other employees on the availability list, and following those, float team employees. The following are provisions for replacements. Modification of availability. It may be increased at any time with a prior notice of 7 days in advance. It may be modified 6 times per year in accordance with the calendar established by the employer. If the employer requests to be oriented in a center of activities, she must maintain her availability for a minimum of 3 months in that center of activities. Float teams are assigned after part-time employees of the center of activities. They are used primarily for assignments of 28 days and less, but may also do long-term replacements if there are no part-time employees of the center of activity available. Matter 7. Voluntary transfers. Posting of positions. The employer makes position postings available for a period of 10 days. The employer posts all vacant and newly created positions within 90 days, except for the months of June, July, and August. The employer makes the list of previously posted positions that remain vacant available to employees. Modification of the home base. If a reorganization requires a modification of the home base to avoid abolishing positions, this modification is offered on a voluntary basis by seniority. In the case that there is no volunteer, the least senior will be affected by the modification of the home base. It may not be modified more than once per 12 months. Candidates. An employee may see the list of candidates. An employee must indicate the order of priority of their position choices. An employee may obtain a position left vacant after being posted. An employee may not obtain more than 3 transfers within a 3-month period. Granting of positions. The position is granted to the employer with the most seniority who meets the requirements. For the positions of clinician, the position is granted to the most competent among the 5 most senior employees. If candidates have equal competence, the position is granted by seniority. For the positions that are mentioned below, the position is granted to the most competent candidate. If candidates have equal competence, the position is granted by seniority. The positions registry is valid for the duration of the absence only. It allows an employee who is absent to apply on desired posted positions. The employee must register by completing the form provided, and candidacy is automatically considered. Posting of nominations. The nomination is posted 20 days after the posting of the position. The effective starting date must occur within 30 days after the nomination. The initiation and trial period is 30 working days, except for those holding a position that requires a university degree, in which case the period is 65 workdays. The employee or the employer may end this period, in which case the employee returns to her previous position. This is a special procedure concerning the granting of part-time positions. The objective of this article is to give priority to part-time employees who wish to upgrade their positions to full-time by breaking down vacant part-time positions before they are posted. You can see the rules to do so. Matter 8. Here are the general principles of the bumping procedure. Step 1. The employee may, before each of the steps, accept a previously posted vacant position for which he or she meets the requirements. Here is the second step of the bumping procedure. If an employee cannot use step number 2, she may use the following step number 3. Here is the last step, number 4. Here are other conditions regarding the bumping process. Choice. The employee concerned receives a written notice and is entitled to 3 working days to make her choice. As you can see, the union was able to preserve your rights to choose if you are affected by the bumping procedure. Matter number 9, arrangement of work hours and the work week. Here is the breakdown of the work week. Here are the provisions concerning the meal and rest periods. Please note that the rest periods may be added to the meal period with the consent of the immediate superior. Here are the provisions concerning weekly days off. Please note that the employer may no longer force employees to work 2 weekends on 3. Work schedule. The employer may not modify the schedule without a 7-day advance notice without the consent of the employee. The schedule is determined by the employer. The scheduling project includes days off and shifts which are posted 5 weeks in advance for a period of 2 weeks. It covers a period of 4 weeks. The schedule is available 7 days in advance and covers a period of 4 weeks. For the summer period, the parties may establish a schedule that covers a period of 12 weeks. What is a scheduling project? It's a draft schedule established by the employer spread over 28 days. It is mainly used to express specific requests by employees such as stats, personal leaves, weekly days off, or exchanges of work shift. For rotation periods, it's the status quo. Refreshing techniques. It is now possible for evening staff to also benefit. Matter 10, conditions regarding overtime, on-call duty, and availability. Overtime distribution must be distributed in turn and equitably among employees who normally do the work. The employer may not take away an overtime with less than a 24-hour advance notice without the employee's consent. This is a significant gain. Here are the provisions concerning on-call duty, which are status quo. Matter 11, statutory holidays, mobiles, and annual vacation. Here is the list of the 13 statutory holidays. Please note that FCAT, F4, we now have a mobile stat that can be taken between July 1st and June 15th. The employer also determines in advance if F6 and F8 will be either before or after Christmas and New Year's. There is equitable distribution among employees of the same group in the same center of activities, the statutory holidays. The employer is entitled to at least 5 consecutive days off by joining together her Christmas or New Year's holiday with statutory holidays, compensatory days, or regular days off. The employee has the right to accumulate a maximum of 5 compensatory holidays. These days must be used between July 1st and June 15th. The normal period of annual vacation extends from June 1st to September 30th. There is no annual vacation during the weeks of Christmas and New Year's, except in sectors where there are closures or a reduction of services. The vacation is granted by group of job titles, with the exception of the assistant, by center of activities where she holds a position or a replacement of more than 28 days, and by work shift. At the request of the employee, the vacation period begins or ends with a complete weekend. Employees working in the school sector must take their vacation in the periods when the school activities are interrupted. The following are the conditions concerning the posting and inscription for annual vacation. Matter number 12, leaves without pay. The following are conditions concerning leaves of absence. Please note that leaves of absence are granted after agreement with the employer. Matter 13, Human Resources Development. With the participation of the union, the employer develops an activity plan taking into consideration the needs of the establishment and the employees. A parity committee is put into place. The following contains the integration and orientation program. It also contains an adaptation program for employees affected by the transformation of the network, and also contains an in-service training program. And finally, it contains an update and development program. Matter 14, activities with users outside of the establishment. For activities of more than 24 hours, the conditions are established by agreement. Matter 15, local committees. In the local arrangements, see Labor Relations Committee, Grievance Committee, Disability Committee, Health and Safety Committee, and Task and Organization of Work Committee. Matter 16, the rules of ethics between the parties are based on mutual respect. Matter 17, 28 closed bulletin boards spread out in the installations of the establishment are for the exclusive use of the union. Matter 18, professional bodies. We have provided for a leave without pay to an employee whose right to practice has been suspended. Matter 19, professional practice and responsibility. The employer commits to respect the various codes of ethics. Here are the rules governing the signature of technical documents prepared by an employee. Any document prepared by an employee must be signed by that employee. An employer holds the copyright of any technical document written by an employee in the performance of her duties. The employer has the exclusive right to produce, reproduce, or publish the document. He must put the name of the author, her title, and the center of activities to which she belongs. Matter 20. Here are the conditions in the case of the transportation of users. Matter 21. Here are the conditions concerning the loss and destruction of personal belongings. Matter 22, uniforms. The employer continues to provide uniforms where he previously supplied them. Matter 23. The employer provides, if possible, a lockable locker. If the premises permit, the employer provides a suitable dressing room. Matter 24, conditions of payment of salary. If the employer makes an error of $40 or more, attributed to the employer, he agrees to correct this error within 5 working days. If the employer overpays the employee, he may not recover more than $30 per week, unless agreed upon by the employee. The employer may only recover overpayment made during the 6 months preceding the day that the employee was notified of the error. This is a major gain for most of our members. No amount may be withheld on the employee's salary for the breakage or loss of material. Matter 25, credit union. This is new for some of our members. The parties encourage their participation in the Caisse des Jardins de Réseau de la Santé. At the request of the employer makes deductions at source once per pay period. Matter 26, travel allowances. Reimbursement of expenses is made in the shortest possible delay upon providing supporting documents. The employee is entitled to the meal allowance when she must travel away from her home base, provided she is unable to return within a reasonable delay to the home base, her home, or another installation of the employer where a meal is offered. The home base is the place where the employee carries out her duties more than half of the work week. In other cases, the employer determines, according to the place where the employee regularly receives her instructions and reports on her activities. The employee may not have more than one home base, except for replacement purposes. When an employee must go from her residence to a place of work other than her home base without stopping at the home base, she is compensated for the excessive distance she must normally travel to go from her residence to her home base, and the same applies for the return trip. The following is a list of the appendices and letters of understanding that will be part of the tentative agreement. Your union would like to remind you of the importance to participate in the vote concerning the tentative agreement. The vote will be held from September 17th to the 21st. Thank you for listening, and we hope to see you soon.